So about a month ago now, I made a video called They Made a Better Zombies Than Treyarch, comparing Treyarch's version of World War II zombies to one of our other studios, either Infinity Ward or Sledgehammer. And since it's Sledgehammer who's done World War II zombies, and the only one that they made was the game called World War II, I compared that game to Vanguard. And even without going back and watching the points I made in it, I think most people will admit that World War II Zombies from Sledgehammer was better than the zombies mode that we saw in Vanguard. So that was the question that was asked in that video, and the answer was yes. But we've also got other alternates which are on the opposite end of the spectrum, going from zombies way in the past World War II to zombies in the future, being Exo Zombies and Infinite Warfare Zombies. And what I wanted to do in this video was see how Exo Zombies compared to what we've seen from Treyarch. Now, it's a little bit more difficult because Treyarch and Sledgehammer both made World War II Zombies games, whereas Treyarch haven't specifically made a fully fledged zombies game that takes place in the future. Yes, we have BO2, 3 and 4, which are all futuristic games, but the zombies modes in them, the maps that we have, in most cases take place in the past. And when we have seen futuristic maps such as the ones we had in BO2 like Transit, Nuketown, Die Rise, Buried, which all take place in the year 2025 or 2035, if you look at those maps, they don't feel futuristic, whereas Exo Zombies does. Everything about this game feels like it is the future. There isn't really a zombies mode from Treyarch that gives you that feeling, so it's a lot more difficult to compare the two. So kind of changing the question slightly for this video, is Exo Zombies just better than anything we've seen from Treyarch, ranging from World at War to Vanguard? Because I can remember when this game came out, and over the years since its release, I don't think it's ever really gotten any appreciation. Like a lot of games, within the first year people will say, well, this is trash, but then as time goes on you learn to appreciate it. That's happened with loads of Call of Duty games, not just zombies. But with Advanced Warfare and Exo Zombies, I don't really feel like that happened. I feel like when it released, people didn't really like it, and over the years since then, it's still a game where everyone's general opinion is, it was meh, it wasn't very good, and looking back on it, it still isn't. Now, even before I get into the deeper details of this game mode, I can straight away say that I don't think this Zombies is better than anything that Treyarch have produced. Even Vanguard, okay, that one, maybe, but honestly, if I'm being true to myself, if I could only choose to play one game for the rest of time, Exo Zombies or Vanguard Zombies, I'd still choose Vanguard Zombies because that game does have Shinonuma, which is a good map. The boss fight in the Archon is okay. Besides from Duran Fang, in no way am I saying Vanguard Zombies was good. There wasn't much content in it overall, but if I had to play one, I'd still pick Vanguard, because although Exo does have a lot more to it, it just doesn't feel good to play, to be honest. It always felt a little bit stiff and more of a chore than fun, whereas at least one map in Vanguard, being Shinonuma, is actually fun to play. And I'm not saying that lightly, but even without all of that, there's still one reason why I don't think Exo Zombies is anywhere near the level of any other zombies mode out there, and that was because you actually couldn't get it unless you paid extra. Normally, when you buy a Call of Duty game, you at least get one zombies map on disc. Sometimes it's 2, in BO4's case it's 3 or 4 if you paid extra, but with Advanced Warfare, zombies wasn't actually available in the game. Not the regular zombies mode anyway. You could get survival, but that wasn't proper zombies. In order to get Exo Zombies, you had to buy the season pass, or at the time it would have just been the DLC pack, so you would have had to buy the Havoc DLC pack, which contained the first Exo Zombies map, Outbreak. That for me straight away just drops points massively for this mode, because you pay £60 at the time for a brand new game, you expect the third mode to be there, and it wasn't. If you want to get it, you have to buy the DLC. So Zombies technically wasn't a part of Advanced Warfare unless you pay extra. No other Zombies mode, as far as I can remember, has ever done that. It's not actually available on disc. As far as I can remember, I did buy every DLC pack for Advanced Warfare, but besides from the first Zombies map Outbreak, I didn't play the rest that much, which were Infection, Carrier and Descent. Those were DLC 2, 3 and 4, because I could never really get into it from the beginning. I played Outbreak quite a bit, Infection a little bit, and then Carrier and Descent not at all really. Before this in 2014 we'd only ever had Treyarch Zombies, so this was the first alternative we'd seen, and it was very different because it was Exo Zombies, BO2, Black Ops 1 and World at War were all drastically different to this. So it was unique in its own right. How you moved because of the exosuit, how the zombies moved. It had its own unique style. The traditional things in zombies such as the mystery box or the pack-a-punch machine, the perks, were all implemented into this mode in a way. The 3D printer replaced the mystery box. It was really just a visual change. The upgrade station replaced the Pack-a-Punch machine, which worked slightly different. Instead of paying the usual 5,000 points to upgrade your weapon, you would pay 2,500 credits to upgrade your weapon to a higher level, and you could eventually upgrade it to level 20. Instead of on the older COD games, you would just Pack-a-Punch your weapon once, and that would be its maximum upgrade. It's changed a little bit now, but the upgrade station was different to Pack-a-Punch, and I don't think it was better. And in replacement of the perk machines, we had the Exo upgrades, which provided players with perk-like abilities. So again, not too many differences. There were also power-ups similar to the old zombies. So a lot of the main features that Sledgehammer introduced to Exo Zombies were taken from what we'd seen from Treyarch. In terms of the core gameplay, there wasn't a lot new in my opinion. The main difference being the exosuits. And besides from a different gameplay style, one thing I think the exosuits also did was made this game harder. I think this is a hell of a lot harder than pretty much any zombies mode we've seen from Treyarch or Infinity Ward. I'm trying to think of hard zombies games that we've had, perhaps BO4 maybe? Or Black Ops 3, BO2, BO1? I don't know, World at War might be the hardest zombies mode we've had just because of the double hits from the zombies, how quickly they could smack you, and the fact that it was a 2-hit down system without jug instead of the older games, BO3, 4, etc., having a 3-hit down system or a 4-hit down system. So World at War might be the hardest we've had. Is there a question to say that Exo Zombies was even harder than World at War? I think because of that, for me at least, not being a brilliant zombies player, it just wasn't as fun to play. I think it was a bit too difficult, mainly because of the exosuits, because of how fast the gameplay was, how fast the zombies moved. The zombies in this game actually dealt lower damage than usual, so you could take more hits in Exo before going down, but because of the suits, the fact that there's no barriers in the game where zombies can come in to slow them down, to me it was hard. Sometimes that can be good, but sometimes it can make it so it's actually pretty frustrating, which to me it became very quickly. One feature I did like is the fact that you could shoot the legs off zombies. In other zombies games, if you want to down them and turn them into crawlers, you'd have to use explosives or grenades, weapons that fired explosive-like shots such as the ray gun, but you could actually just shoot them off with normal guns. Another unique feature was the orbital care packages, which gave you stuff like score streaks like the remote turret, or you could get bonus credits. One thing I forgot to mention is I do think the weapons in Exo were underpowered. In Treyarch's games or Infinity Ward's Infinite Warfare Zombies, there's always at least 1 or 2 weapons that are really good. In Exo Zombies, I feel like even the really good ones were underpowered at the mid rounds, and because of how the upgrade station works, being that you upgrade your weapon to level 20, the increments felt so small that you barely noticed a major change. At level 20, fine, but the amount of points and time it takes to get to that level makes it feel like for the majority of the match, for the majority of players that aren't going to super high rounds, the weapon you're using just feels underpowered, which could also tie into the fact that this game feels just so much harder than any other zombies mode. Sometimes for me, being OP also means more fun. Another weird feature was that you could actually become infected. There were host zombies around the map, and if you were attacked by one, you'd be infected by the zombie virus, and then you'd have 60 seconds to reach a decontamination unit, which if you did, you'd be fine, you'd just play normally again, but if you didn't, you'd get downed, and that's it, that's the end of the game. I thought that was the weirdest, most random, pointless thing I'd seen. In terms of the maps, like I said at the beginning, it's difficult for me to say which was the best and which was the worst because I'd only really played Outbreak and Infection. I had played the rest, but not nearly enough. But the one thing I can comment on is the storyline, which also ties into Easter eggs. This is always a major part of zombies, and I would go as far as to say the cutscenes in Exo Zombies might be some of the best looking ones in any zombies game. They're definitely better than what we saw in BO4, Black Ops Cold War, Vanguard, and I mean every cutscene as a whole, not just one. Like Durham Fang's intro cutscene is pretty good, but if you compare all of them in that game to all of them in Exo Zombies wins hands down. The cutscenes are actually really good, not super interesting, but they look great. I have done a full storyline video that was a few years ago. I can't remember it all off the top of my head, but I don't think the story is too bad. It's interesting enough. It's not that deep, to be honest, but it was decent. So yeah, overall, Exo Zombies just wasn't very good. Usually with this type of thing, we look back at it years later and say, you know what, it was underappreciated, like a lot of people might do with Cold War or Vanguard, Black Ops 4, but Exo Zombies, that's, I still can't say now, years later, that it's a good mode. The other one that Sledgehammer made, World War II, is 100% better than this. It's unique, but I still think it's one of the worst zombies modes we've seen. You could argue whether it's the worst or whether Vanguard's the worst. I have a feeling a lot of people will say Vanguard, and I wouldn't disagree with that, but I don't think this was ever really good. So yeah, there we go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, hopefully you've enjoyed the video today. If you have, drop a like rating. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest videos on the channel. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, goodbye.